We are going through an entire 4-day split week of workouts. We are starting on a Monday doing lower body. This is my warm-up, so I definitely recommend a warm-up with every single workout. My warm-ups stay the same, so this lower body warm-up will be the same on our second lower body workout day. We are starting with some just simple movements, getting the glutes moving, focus on breathing in our core, just waking everything up. I would also recommend, if you don't have a very long walk to your gym, to start on the treadmill just to raise your heart rate slightly. We are mainly trying to focus on our glutes, hamstrings, hip flexors and quads, and doing things specific that you like or feel like you need. So I'm doing calf raises here because I have very, very flat feet, so they're going to help me in the long run. You'll also see later I do some squats on my tiptoes. They are also because I have flat feet. This is practicing the hip hinge movement, again for the glutes, but just make sure you're doing a dynamic warm-up, so we're not doing any static stretching. If you do stretches, you're more likely to get an injury. So we are doing dynamic stretching, so that's movement within those stretches. And also just practicing for the exercises you're going to be doing. So I do warm-up sets as well as doing these dynamic stretches. This workout is for intermediate. So if you're a complete beginner, I probably wouldn't recommend doing this workout. I would recommend starting with somebody else's, or I can do a beginner full workout split if that's something you want to see. These dynamic stretches are a bit more specific to squats because that's what we are starting with. So I'm really opening up our hips. I have some problem with my hamstrings, so I'm really focusing on waking up the hamstrings as well. These are great to do anytime, but I specifically do these before I do my squats. In my workouts, I always say 2 hard sets for every exercise that you do for muscle gain. So you'll see on screen once I start doing the exercise which ones my hard sets are. And this rep range changes because of how hard the sets are. So these squats are just warm-up sets. This is just a warm-up set. So I am standing still with the bar on my back doing some diaphragm breathing, so breathing into my stomach first, and then I move on to my tiptoe squats just to help with my flat feet. Then I'll add some more weight on the bar and do some warm-up squats with a heavier weight. But once I start my working sets, you will see that I put the order on what I do my hard sets, because this changes for everything. I would recommend trying to do your hard/heavy sets first and then doing your light ones, but just do whatever feels good for you. Sometimes it feels better for me to do them first. Sometimes it feels better for me to do a light set first. You can see here I'm trying to get into my diaphragmatic breathing, really pushing out my tummy, then doing the set. For my warm-up set, I do add just a rep pause at the bottom as well, just to warm up. So now we are getting on to the working weight. So you can see on set 1, I do 8 reps. Then on set 2, I do 1 to 2 reps because I'm really trying to push my squat. And then on my third set, I do still quite heavy for 6 reps. And set 2 and 3 is my hard/heavy set. So we're doing 2 heavy/hard working weights. And then on our third and fourth, we're focusing on form. For squats, I'm sure you've heard if you're here because you're an intermediate, I'm sure you've heard all of the normal squat form tips. What my biggest tip that I would say is a bit more uncommon is make sure you're putting your weight through all of your foot, not just your heels. Put it through all of your feet. Next on, we are moving on to dumbbell RDLs. These are different to stiff leg deadlifts. I would say look at a post by Brett Contreras to see the difference. We are using straps in this because I can go for way longer than my grip can go. So this is me showing you how to put the straps on. The strap goes underneath and then you pull the strap tight, wrap it round, and then for the other hand, because I know some people struggle with this, you just have to try and maneuver it with one hand. So underneath, pull it up, wrap it round, and then rev the weight. I would say rev it like a motorcycle so you can really feel like the tension is going through your wrist rather than your grip having to do all of the work. Like I say, my glutes can go for way longer than my wrists can and my hands can. Doing 3 sets of 20 for the RDLs, and you're again pushing your weight throughout the entirety of your foot. That is the biggest thing that's helped me feel my RDLs in my glutes. Don't just rely on your weight being on your heels. Put it through your toes and like the balls of your feet. That's made it feel so much better for me. And then you're trying to feel the stretch in your glutes, so going as far back as you can and don't go too low, because then we're getting into stiff leg deadlift kind of territory. Moving on to another glute-based exercise, we are doing eccentric hip thrusts on a hip thruster machine. If you don't have one of these, you can definitely do it with a barbell. But with this, I just feel like I can get really, really nice and low, which is what I'm focusing on this. I'm trying to focus on the stretch going all the way down and then do a nice quick pull up, just using my glutes. With this machine, I feel like I can feel it better in like just using my glutes rather than my hamstrings, quads, other things doing the work. And then we are finishing off on some hamstrings. So we're doing seated leg curls. I do 2 sets of 8 and then 2 sets of 12. So my 2 sets of 8 are the heavier ones, and then my 2 sets of 12 are my lighter ones. Try and keep your feet pointed up the entire way through. You can get a little bit of calf activation doing this, so try and keep your feet pointed to the ceiling. I've got the full workout on screen now, so you can screenshot it if you want to do this workout as well. But I love this workout. It's probably my favorite one at the minute. Day 2 is upper body, and I normally do this on a Tuesday. Again, we are doing a warm-up. This warm-up is specific to me. My traps like to do everything. So I'm doing some wall Ys. They do come in later, so I'll not talk too much about them. But we are trying to focus on getting my lower upper back activated and my rotator cuff as well. But definitely try and get some dynamic stretches in for your upper body that you feel works best for you and preparing you for this upper body workout. We are starting with chin-ups. So with chin-ups, your hands need to be underhand grip. For me, that means on the cable machine, because my pull-up rack at the gym doesn't have a chin-up bar. So I'm doing these on the cable machine. I do this for AMRAP, so just 3 sets of literally as many reps as possible. I go until failure. Make sure you have a good grip and make sure you have something to stand on if you can't reach the bar, because jumping up can be the hardest part. We are moving on to kettlebell bottom up press. These are deceptively hard. So if you think this looks easy, just wait till you give it a try. Because it's bottom up, you have to balance it. And that means all of the little muscles in your rotator cuff are going to be working just as hard as your delts. These are brilliant, especially if you have problems with your posture and just stabilization in your shoulder. We are doing some chest next, so we are doing an incline press on the Smith machine, doing 4 sets of 12. Because I have some shoulder issues, I do these really light and really slow, but feel free to go heavy if that's what you feel like you can do. Just make sure that your arms are going in an arrow to your body. You can see it better here, rather than a right angle. Let your triceps go forward slightly, not completely. We're doing an arrow. And try and get your forearms as straight up as possible and your wrists nice and strong and straight. Don't let them fall back like mine are doing there. Going on to Bayesian curls, these can be substituted for just bicep curls if you want, but Bayesian curls basically just add some movement in there to help you. I'm struggling with bicep curls at the minute, so I like these because the little bit of movement that you do with the Bayesian curls really just adds to the squeeze and the stretch you can give to your bicep. Seated row is again one of the ones that I'm trying to focus on form with this one. So 3 sets of 20. If I didn't have my shoulder issues, I would be adding a heavy set in there. Really try and pull the attachment to your belly button and try and make sure the bottom of your upper back is working as well, which is what I'm trying to do here. Pull your lats back and then pull back towards your belly button. You can see I reset a few times here because this is what I struggle with. Really try and pull from the lower upper part of your back. Next, we're doing single arm cable tricep extension. I'm doing these with a cuff. You can do it just holding onto the cable, but the cuff has really, really helped me. It means that my grip isn't the thing I'm relying on. It's just my tricep. Try and keep your upper arm as still as possible and your elbow as still as possible, so it's all from the tricep. You should be able to feel when it's not your tricep doing the work, it's your back. So just be really honest with yourself. If you feel like it's not your tricep, reset, start again. And finally, finishing with some cable lateral raises. We're just doing 2 sets. And because it's the cables, it is insanely light. So we're doing 40 reps. If you can get heavier, definitely go less than 40 reps. But you know what cable lateral raises are like. I'm actually doing lengthened partials here. So I'm letting it come way far in front to get that stretch on my delt and then not going all the way up. We do have lateral raises later on in the week where I do a bit better form. And again, this is the full workout. I really think this is a good rounded workout that hits every muscle group. But if you feel like anything's missing, specifically chest, because I have my shoulder issues, chest is a little bit lacking, add it in. Day 3, we are back to lower body. I normally do a rest day in between, so this is on a Thursday. We are starting with, again, that warm-up that we saw earlier in the video, but I didn't want to put you through it twice, so we'll just skip it forward. And our first exercise is sumo deadlifts. I do have warm-up sets. I think I have 3 warm-up sets for deadlift because I'm doing 1 rep sets, so I do like to have quite an extensive warm-up here. But again, really think about putting all that weight in all over your foot and really try and retract your lats back. You can see when I start, I pull my lats back to make sure that that's not where the pulling of the weight is coming from. I want it all in my glutes and my legs. So your start should be pull your lats back, big breath into your tummy, and then pull up. Imagine you are leg pressing off the floor and pulling up with your glutes. Like I say, I am doing 1 rep here. I am struggling with my deadlift, but I wanted to show you that we all go through times where you cannot get the weight off the floor, and I struggled this day. So I wanted to show that, yeah, we all fail. It doesn't matter. I think I did about 5 attempts of my 1 rep and it just wasn't happening, so then I went on to my light set. But usually it is 2 sets of 1 rep and 1 set of 6 reps, and then you can see the form a little bit better on these ones instead of me getting really angry with myself. But breathing into the tummy, pulling back the lats. I am doing a mixed grip, so 1 hand is underhand, 1 hand is overhand, and I am using chalk on this because it genuinely helps massively. So I would definitely recommend getting some liquid chalk because that massively helped my deadlift. Again, just make sure that the glutes are doing the work here. Moving on, we are coming on to a leg press, but it is single leg press. So we're keeping the reps quite the same. Here we're doing 3 sets of 12, obviously on each leg. And we are getting nice and deep. Try and focus on letting that knee still drift out to the side so your hip is open and pushing through your big toe. That again is specific for me. I have flat feet, but that's really helped me feel it in my quads where I want to feel it better. So maybe it would help one of you. Biggest thing on leg press, do not lock that knee out at the top. We've all seen the horror videos, don't do it. But still nice deep breaths. It's going to help you really push through your quads. Next up are step-ups, and we're doing stretch-mediated step-ups. I'm still experimenting with these. Brett Contreras, who is a very influential, the glute guy he calls himself because he's a researcher that does a lot of research into glute development. He keeps on kind of like changing his mind on how best to perform these. So I'll leave his Instagram, because he recently did a reel on how to do these, in my description box, because like I say, I don't know how my form is on this. This felt good. It felt all right, but I wouldn't say I was the expert on doing this, so I will definitely leave his reel that he just did for it. But the main thing on that is feeling the stretch. Next up, we are finishing on leg extension. What I was doing there was putting the back all the way to the back. You want to lean back as much as possible with leg extension. You do not want to be sitting upright. As far back as your back of the leg extension will go, do it. Lean as far back as you can and imagine pulling up through the quads. Don't just let it become a run-of-the-mill motion. Really, really think about pulling up through the quads. And finally, we are ending on upper body again. This workout, me and Jack had been out the day before and I was knackered. So I do look very, very tired, and I felt very, very tired for this workout. So please ignore my weights and ignore my effort. But we are starting with overhead press, the 2 heavy sets first, and then finishing on the light set. I do a warm-up set with this. That's why I'm using the bar. And I normally do 3 to 5 reps on my heavy set, but today it just wasn't possible. You will see I fail very, very quickly. Form tips for this: push up through your little finger. That is the thing that has helped me feel it through my delts the most. Push up through the little finger, not through your hand. Try and have your wrists a bit straighter than what my wrists are here, and try and keep it minimal movement. I am not doing them strict in my heavy sets. You can see I was not happy about how heavy that felt. But you'll be able to see the form a lot better in this one. I'm trying to keep my movement minimum because I'm trying to do strict press here. We are poking your head up through the top, so pushing it overhead, and it's ending above my head by poking my head through the gap. And honestly, just try pushing through your little finger. It really helped me. Next, we are doing underhand lat pull down. So use whatever attachment feels best for you. I prefer just the standard lat pull down bar, but you will see again, I am pulling back first and then pulling down. So engage my lats, then pull down, let it up, engage my lats, then pull down. I do a one set of 1 on this because I'm trying to help with my chin-ups. Moving on to a chest exercise, we are doing incline cable flies. So to set up, you want the cable nice and low so there is an incline to it. And you want to imagine as well, keeping your shoulder blades back. The more you keep your shoulder blades back, the more it's going to be your chest that does the work. So really try and keep the shoulder blades pinned back and in place. Next, moving on to biceps, we are doing just standard hammer curls. I do one arm the entire set, and then the other arm, I feel like this is the best way because it entirely exhausts the muscle. Exactly the same as the tricep extension. Try and keep that upper arm as still as possible and the elbow as still as possible, and just make sure everything is being pulled up from the bicep. Obviously on the heavy sets, it's going to be your shoulder a little bit, but you want the bicep doing as much work as possible. So these are the standard Ys that I was talking about. This is because I need to try and develop my lower upper back because my traps do everything. The way that I have been doing these and been taught to do these is pull your shoulder blades into the wall. So stand so you can feel the shoulder blades on the wall, neutral spine, neutral hips, and then pull the shoulder blades back into the wall and then down. You want to imagine your shoulder blades sliding down the wall. That's the bit that I struggle with. So you'll see me reset. Pulling them down as well as back is really, really hard for me. This might be so easy for some people, but we all have imbalances. But I've tried to be doing this every single day, but I wanted to incorporate them into the workouts because I was doing weighted Ys. Next, back to a chest exercise, we are doing incline dumbbell press. I am doing these light to focus on form for my shoulder, but feel free to go as heavy as you want to go. And it is the exact same as the Smith machine. Your arms are going as an arrow to your body, not 90 degree. And you want to go nice and low. You want to go nearly all the way down to your chest, but just think arrow to the body. And very similar to the first upper body workout, we are finishing on lateral raises, 2 sets. These are dumbbells, so we can go a little bit heavier. I am going lighter today because I was knackered. But again, with the shoulder blades, keeping them nice and still because you want the delts to be doing your work, not your traps. Don't come up too high though. Do not come up too high, then it is going to be your traps. And that is the entire workout. I hope it was useful. This is a new format for me, so if you enjoyed this new format, please let me know. I would really appreciate it. But even if you don't, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall hopefully see you in another video.